course I'm going to do it. So getting on well today in there. It's that's the first room from the first two that I did. That's the pink one all done, hoovered out. That was the sort of grey one I did, and they've moved all the cat stuff in there now, so that's become the cat room. And he just chucked a little bit of lino down on top of that last night, the bloke. And then it just leaves me to get in here tomorrow, get some colour on all these walls. Look at how much gear you need just to do a bit of decorating. Look, tons and tons of stuff. Gone are the days where you walk in with a pot of paint and a brush. So anyway, spray is staying there, and then I'm going to try and get these ceilings air sprayed tomorrow, or this top level at least. Bring my ladder in, get all this coving, all the ceiling sprayed, and then start moving down the staircase with the colour really. And the colour that they're having on the outside, in the hallway there, is that grey which was in that cat room. So it's all going to be the same colour from now on, all the way down to the kitchen and the little toilet downstairs. So nice and easy, one colour. I think it's that colour, isn't it? So yeah, it's going to go all the way through. So no messing about with different rollers here and there, just one colour. But anyway, thanks for watching. A bit of waffle in the van, and I'll see you soon. Right everybody, let's get home. It's 3:20 and yeah, I've had a really nice day in there today. I really enjoyed it actually. Nice to get out of them two rooms and get into another room, so the job isn't sort of stagnating then. You know, if I left my stuff in that one room for the duration of the job, I would have felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. So them two rooms are clear now, and I'm in the other room. And I must tell you what, that Erbauer sprayer is it really sprays nice. I know I've done a couple of videos on it before, but I haven't used it a ton really. I haven't used it that much. And where am I going? This way today. Yeah, and I haven't used it that much. So the paint I was using was super matte. It's a Dulux super matte, which it's like cottage cheese. It's so thick. So I watered it down a fair bit, not too much, but a fair bit. And it sprayed out of that sprayer really, really nice. The pump on it sounds quieter, and it feels like it's got constant pressure, a lot more than the Wagner one I had. And I had I've said this before, sorry if I'm boring you, but I had a Wagner one which was like a 600 quid thing, which was the Wagner one on the wheels, like on the cart they call it. Same pump as the one that sits on the floor I suppose, but definitely sounds quieter than that. And the pump just handled it. I just put enough water in it, you know, so when you're lifting your stick up, it's a constant stream from stick to the top of the bucket, and then it just runs back into itself. Doesn't sit on top. That's a sort of good way of seeing by eye if your paint is mixed okay, watered down okay. A lot of these things give you like this little cup that you have to pour things through. It's like a funnel, and you pour your paint through it, and you have to time how long it takes to run out of this thing. Bit like an egg timer really, like a sand egg timer, which is a right old faff. I mean, who wants to be doing that? So when you're thinning paint down for spraying, the general rule of thumb is when you're mixing it with your stick, when you lift your stick up, you want a constant stream of paint from stick to the paint, and then when that paint is running back in itself, you want it just to flatten out quickly. You don't want it sitting on top and building on top of the paint that's in your tub or your bucket. You want it to flatten out quickly, and that is really a good guide to say that your paint is good enough for spraying them. And obviously that's what mine was today, and that Erbauer sprayer just really sort of just flew through it, and the pump was quiet and it maintained pressure. It was a joy to use actually. The only criticism I would say about that pump, not the pump, sorry, the only criticism I would say about the actual sprayer is the gun is quite uncomfortable to hold. It's like a big 4-finger gun, and it's quite uncomfortable really for any length of time. But you know, it's one of them things. It's no more uncomfortable than holding a brush for God knows how long. So it's just one of them things you get used to. Sometimes it's a 4-finger gun with a trigger, 4-finger trigger, but sometimes you just want to use them 2 fingers because it's not a comfortable grip when you're pulling 4 like that. Sometimes you just get an knack of it, and you'll just spray like that. A bit like Spider-Man. Did he do that, Spider-Man? Yeah. Pss, 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 pss. Maybe Spider-Man had an Erbauer. Who knows? An Erbauer web maker. But like an idiot, when I threw my Wagner sprayer away, it was a bit in temper. I just threw it away. I took it down the dump, And I thought, I've spent enough time trying to repair this thing. It's going in the skip. Threw it in the skip like an idiot. But along with the actual machine, I threw away the hose, the whip hose that I had on the end of it, the gun that I had on the end of it. I just threw it all away, just like an idiot. So that teach me a lesson. Mind you, not as much as a lesson as that bloke. Do you remember a few years ago? Well, it must be 15, maybe 20 years ago. I don't know really. There was a bloke that threw away his computer, not realising he had a load of cryptocurrency on it, which was quite in its infancy then. And then after he'd thrown it away, he'd realised that he had millions. I think it was literally millions. And the only way you can get that currency back is through the computer that he'd thrown away. And I think he spent quite a lot of money and a lot of time, because he knows where it went. He knows exactly what landfill site it went to. But they're huge, these places, and then they get piled on, piled on. He has spent a lot of time and money trying to recover that thing, and he's never found it. I feel absolutely gutted for him. It must be horrible knowing that you've literally got millions of pounds buried in a landfill and you can't get hold of it. So it could have been worse, couldn't it? That sprayer could have been worth millions of pounds, so I can't complain really. But anyway, my little Erbauer sprayer has been great. It's been a little gem. So tomorrow I will get a coat of paint on the walls in there, get a coat of gloss on the skirtings, and then I'm going to spray the hallway ceilings. That's why I've left the sprayer just wrapped up, so I don't want to clean it all out. They're fine overnight. They'll be fine for a couple of days, in sprayers. Depending what the weather's like, obviously you wouldn't want to leave it out in the sun. You wouldn't want to leave it in a hot sort of temperature. But in this temperature, that will sit in that room. I would imagine that will sit in there for a good few days, really. I mean, the hose isn't going to dry out. It's full of paint. It's not going to dry out. The only thing that might dry out a bit would be the tip or the tip guard. But if you just turn your tip sideways so the little opening is blocked off, wrap a little damp cloth around it, and that shouldn't dry out. So if you are spraying and you're packing up and cleaning it out every night, you haven't got to do that. Just wrap it up, make it airtight, and that'll be fine for the next day. Just treat it like you would, like a paint skull. You put a lid on it overnight, that's fine. But anyway, that's enough rambling from me, enough waffling. I'll take you back in there tomorrow and maybe film a bit more spraying, but I can't really feel too much rolling. I don't want to get bored. I'd rather put nothing out than put something out that's going to make you all bored of watching me. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.